how business analysis is practiced today in organizations, and how business analysis is gonna be practiced in the future. Well, I have my ideas, but I would like to listen from others. So other professionals who are engaged into the work on the day by day of doing business analysis. And I have been inviting guests from all over the world. My guest today is passionate about exploring how generative AI and intelligent assistants can optimize decision making, reduce operational costs, and unlock new business models. A business analyst from Argentina with more than 14 years of experience driving process transformation through technology and analytics. Welcome, Mariano Urbinatti Machado. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, everybody.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Mariano. Mariano, I would like to start this conversation by your background. So, how did you become a business analyst, and how long? I have said that you have more than 14 years of experience. I read that on your LinkedIn, but tell me a little bit more. How did you end up as a business analyst?
Well, like I'm 46 years old, so on 97, when I started going to college, at the beginning I was studying telecommunications engineer, and at that time the programming, the language was very important for all telecommunications engineers. Unix and Linux was the highest, and I started working on that later on the years. But I became, I don't know, a bit boring, because yes, programming is really interesting, but I was missing the gap between what I was trying to do, what I was trying to program, and what the client was needing. Like, it was really a huge gap, because at that time Agile wasn't working, it wasn't existing, and we were working under PMI. So there was a lot of documentations, and you were reading something and say, but this action, what is the client actually need this? Or I don't know. It was kind of crazy, and I was realizing that, yeah, I was kind of a outgoing person, and I realized, yeah, for me it will be much better to have me more in front of the customer and the client, and say, okay, what exactly do you want? Because I was the person that say, you know what, I don't get that. Why does the client need this? Okay, and sometimes, okay, you know what, come to the meeting and ask all your questions to the client. And I realized, yeah, you know what? I love programming and everything, but I was way much better communicating with the client and understanding what exactly they need, and putting in documents and a map, drawing, I don't know, brainstorming sessions with the clients. Okay, you're not sure what you want, so let's brainstorm what exactly it is, or a fishbone to see the problem and everything. So for me, was, I don't
Great
know,
cause.
very seamlessly changing that. For me, one of the I don't know, it's very innate on my nature that always try to find the issue, always try to find what exactly the client needs, or understanding why they need it. So I become consultant, because at that time, business analyst wasn't even a word. Then become functional analyst, then product analyst, and now we use business analyst. So for the last 14 years, I've been working that way.
That's interesting. So this, it's like you're telling me you were already a business analyst before the word was coined, before the word exists, because and it came from a personal desire of understanding what the customer needs, and so this need to communicate, to understand before doing the job or just developing software, understanding the need, and that changed where you were and how you were working, and at some point it had a name in your organization. So if you could define business analysis value, or the business analysis value proposition, how would you define it?
I always use, we are the bridge between the clients and the developers and the people who build the product. We are the bridge. We are the gap between those different words, because sometimes the client don't have any idea of programming or how to do technology. In one of my previous projects, I was working on a government, and one of the key person was the secretary of the ministry, and that person didn't know how to use email, but he understood everything about the business. He was great, everything about the business. Oh, you know what? When we receive the taxes here, these go to here and these go to there. And he gave us everything about what exactly the business was doing and how the flow were going. And for me, it was great because I don't need that person to understand technology. I was the person to understand technology. I'm the gap between what the client really needs and how I will translate all those needs, all those flows, all those rules that they have to the programmers.
And you define it as this bridge between those who have the need and those who are providing the solution.
Exactly.
But you use the word technology. Would you say business analysis is always connected to technology? Is technology part of the definition of business analysis, or it could be other things?
Well, it could be another thing. The thing is, define technology, because I can be the business analyst from the people that, I don't know, wants to build the house, and I will talk to the workers and explain them why they needed, I don't know, the bathroom here, or I don't know, the people who want to buy, I don't know, a clothing, and I will explain, okay, you know what, they need that color or this size. I don't know, the bridge between those people, because sometimes, I don't know, it's not like programmers don't have people skills, but sometimes for them it's more useful. Okay, you know what? You tell me to write this and this, connect this API with this one, and that's it. They want hard structure, but sometimes that's why I think that we always need the business analyst, because sometimes we are missing the person why we are doing this. There is not a more an effective way. What is the reason? Because if the reason, I don't know, is probably we can have it in an easier way, or understanding, okay, you know what, the clients need to do this because, I don't know, the the revenue need to improve 100%. And probably the programmer can say, okay, you know what, but fixing all this probably will not give you any revenue. You know what, the biggest revenue will be, I don't know, in another model. And sometimes these questions are lost between the business and the programmers, or the people who build the technology, because they are not a people that like is picking up the details or the clues sometimes, and that is really important job, I think.
I like that. Technology can be seen as a broad concept, so not necessarily programming, but any kind of solution development or solution delivery. And there is someone who needs that solution. And you're right, solution developers tend to look very closely to the solution and be committed to the solution and just forget about the problem at all. So you need
Exactly.
someone who can understand that problem, understand the reasons behind that problem, and make sure that the value that is expected from that development can be delivered. I like that. Thank you. Let me ask you a very practical question. So you work as a senior business analyst. How is your day by day? What kinds of work are you doing? What do you produce as an output from your work? Do you create deliverables, documents? Do you talk with people? How is a day in a business analyst life?
Well, today, in pretty much all the projects that I've been involved in the last 5 years, and we use an agile methodology. So at the beginning of the day, obviously, we look up on Jira, on Trello, or Microsoft Foundation to see how exactly is the board doing. What, because we know sometimes developers or QAs have different to do their stuff. Sometimes they like to, the more productive time is at night, but and they do stuff at night or different hours. Sometimes also the QAs have that. So the first thing that I do is see the panel to see, okay, what are the changes that we've done today? What was changed from yesterday? And start with the meetings, with the daily that I try to have that meeting as soon as we start. And one of the great things about the daily is you can do it really fast. Okay, what I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today, and if I need any help. And from that point, I try to be the connector. Okay, you need help. Okay, with back end issue. Okay, let me set up a meeting for this, and we can discuss this. So let's have the daily only 15 minutes to have all the team, and then from that point, I create other meetings. I follow up with some stuff because I don't know. Sometimes you have priorities, and obviously, of my personal time, I I set up a list of the day. Okay, I prioritize all the things that I have to do. Okay, first of all, I need to do the urgent stuff, then the important stuff, and then the miscellaneous stuff. Sometimes we are set up sometimes so much in a big task, but we forget that that is not that important. It, probably you have another task that is more important. So you need to have your compass uh, to see what are exactly the things that they are more important to you. Because as a business analyst, we always have the backlog. We have always has to look up to the backlog, maintain it, and on big projects you have a ton of backlog, and then you realize, okay, I have more than 50 stuff on my backlog. They're all important. Let me check it out. Let me zoom in a little bit and say, this still need to be work, or let's keep it on for the next queue. I'm trying to check and trying to have my backlog balanced and alive is really important for me because sometimes when I start working on a new project, and as soon as I start, I first of all I check the backlog, and I sometimes I see backlog of 10 user stories or epics that are really old. You know what? No, let's clean it. You need to have your backlog really nice and easy to the things that you are going to do for at least the next year. If you're telling me, oh, you know what, these, I don't know, probably in 2 years. Okay, let's remove it from the backlog. I don't need to see something that is going to happen in 2 years. I need to work on the things that really are measurable today, some things that I can build right away, right? Because on agile we don't see like in more than 2 years. So that is one of the first things that I truly work on at the beginning. Keep in touch with my team, create the necessary meetings, connections between the people that need help. They have some things to do, and check on the back. Check on what are the next steps. A lot of the projects that I've been working on is scrums. So you have a lot of PIs. So everything is involving another team, or everything is involved, or you have committed. So you have to check your backlog in order to see if everything that you're planning is on track or not. Because if it's not on track, it's way better to explain it right now instead of, you know what, you promised something on, I don't know, on December. But if you right now I told you, you know what, I'm not going to make it to December because we just realized that we have a lot of things to do, and this issue we realize will take us 3 months of work. So December is no longer an option. I will let the other people all adapt to the expectations and say, okay, this is not December, probably February, March. I don't know. You can keep everything communicated if you check exactly what you're doing and what you're going for.
Perfect. Managing communications, guaranteeing that everybody is understanding what needs to be done, and if they have issues or questions, you are there to solve those questions, to raise or to to elicitate some information that might be missing. And there is a backlog management aspect that you said about prioritizing what have to be done and trying to clean your backlog very often. And at the end, setting expectations. About some of those tasks that you mentioned, I wonder if you see a separation or not into the business analysis job and the product ownership job, because a lot of this backlog management is usually related to a product owner role. I don't know if there is a difference in your organization or if you do the both works. How do you see that?
Unfortunately, for experience, there is not a lot of product owners. Or right now, that we are moving from product owner to product managers. Uh, Product owners, they're looking for the best solution. Product manager, the most renewable solution, the most revenue that you can have with the product. But they don't. We fail on agile to involve the product owner. The product owner is still. I never find a project, even in Globant or other companies, that a product owner understand the backlog or keep the backlog healthy. The product owner are still missing that opportunity. They are still behaving like a stakeholder. So most of the time, by law, by agile, the product owner has to maintain the backlog. But I don't know. I think that there is a second mandatory that if the product owner is failing, the business analyst has to take over and do it. You can justify if your backlog is not healthy, it's because the product owner. If the product owner is not understanding, the business analyst can easily position themselves as a product owner slash BA to work on the middle, right?
Yeah. Now, I will bet this problem raised because a product owner is someone who have authority, but not necessarily the skills that a business analyst have. And to manage a backlog, you really need a lot of skills into those things that you mentioned. Negotiate with people, understanding their real needs, prioritizing what's more important, more valuable. And that's a job for an analyst. There's a lot of analysis on that.
Exactly, exactly. Obviously, they are great product owners and they check everything, but it's really difficult to not, I don't know, to not leave the ownership of the backlog. By law, yes, the product owner has to check it on, but as a BA, you have to be there as well. Check out. That's why I was saying at the beginning. Okay, check on the backlog and ask the product owner. You know what? We are still doing this. This feature are still going to happen, or we can close this ticket. This one has been moved or not. All the questions about the backlog, yes, of course, has to be made to the product owner, but you have to be proactive. You have to don't wait until the product owner give you all the planning and everything, because I
Because
don't
they
know,
won't.
you will never be the gap between the business and the clients. You have to be there with the product owner as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Talking about what a business analyst does and what they're hired to do. Usually business analysts are hired by human resource department to do some stuff. Do you see a gap or not into what a business analyst is hired to do and what the business analyst actually does?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because sometimes, yes, there is a gap. Because obviously, I don't know. I don't know, especially for in Latin America, we don't. I think that we don't are used to make a lot of questions on the interview. We are not. Oh, I don't know. It's a pleasure for you to give me the job and everything. And yeah, you have some questions, but we never make the hard questions. and probably they don't have it. But sometimes, okay, what is the expectations if you start this job for the next 6 months? Okay, what is the current status of the project? Because sometimes the people that hire you are HR and everything, but they don't know anything about the current project. But one of the great things for me for entering a new project is asking all these questions, giving all the asking for the information, because yes, it's so used that we start on a project and everything is completely different, but it's not because of HR. I think I don't know, probably is my personality that always get involved. Like, okay, if the product owner is not working, I will go into the backlog. The same thing I will do with the HR. Okay, what is the project doing? What exactly is the issue right now? What is the expectation for the next month or next year? You need to explain, ask so many questions to know exactly what you're dealing with on the project. If you make those questions when you start the project, you will have those answers already, and the impact will be less.
And an interesting point you said about your day to day is you're looking for gaps and fulfilling them. So you're looking for what have to be done and making sure that that's is done, and that sometimes you bring that work for yourself. So if someone don't know something, you are going to find out the answer, and that relates very much to the value of business analysis, understanding those needs. And those needs could be from everyone, even from the team who is developed. So there are a lot of needs that you are finding out and finding a way to solve it. And I see a lot of BAs doing so much more than just the tasks defined into a RACI matrix or something like that, because they are
Yes, and
just as you.
also when you have issues with the project, how many times a BA also do some testing and check out everything and do the demo because the QAs are not, I don't know, outgoing to speak up with the client. And sometimes, okay, you know what, the client really knows you and have a great relationship with you. Better if the business analysts do the demo and show everything. So yes, we always, I don't know, I think that we are the joker between a lot of roles between the organization, because we see the whole thing. I don't know, we don't know 100% all the things that they do, but we are familiar with what they're doing. So it's a great position, it's a great role.
Perfect. I'm kind of an holistic vision about everything, so you can find gaps and solve those. Interesting. I know that you are working with AI initiatives, so
Of
you were
course,
very
yeah.
engaged into AI. Do you see any shift into the business analysis driven by these new technology that's coming forward?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm mesmerized with all the changes. Recently, I started a new project on Globant, and it's been a long time that I never start a project from zero. So it was great using AI, because everything can be so fast. It's not easy. It's not like I'm not doing my job. Is a great tool to simplify the things that you are doing and give the delivery way faster. AI is, I don't know, is reaching. It's not like a lot of people saying, okay, with AI we are going to lose our job because it's going to replace us and everything. But I think with AI, I think that I will be in more projects than ever. I will have a lot of work instead of being in 1 year, a project being in 1 year. With AI, you will have it in 6 months, and then you have time to do another project. Uh, AI is bringing the gap between a lot of information that we bring up. For example, if you record a meeting and you will pay attention, 100% attention what they are doing and everything, and don't waste time on doing notes. You can create user stories, you can create user tests, you can give the transcription of a meeting and say, okay, summarize the meeting, give me the points of, I don't know what exactly we need to do the follow up, I don't know, help you summarize everything that you're doing, or help you, you know what, with all this summary, let me help me create the email to the stakeholders for asking this information. AI is simplifying all the things that we usually take time. Sometimes before, I don't know, I was taking 10 to 15 minutes to create an email. But right now with AI, yeah, I will give the script. Okay, and especially when you configure your AI, you give them context. For example, with my boyfriend the other day, he has Gemini, and and he said, "Oh, why Gemini is always giving you the correct answers to you? He knows you really well." And I say, "No, it's because I really set up Gemini with all my who I am, where I'm from, everything, all my context, and that's why Gemini is giving me the more personalized experience. With AI in an enterprise business, you can do that as well. You can set up, okay, who is your team? And so, for example, on AI, I put who is everybody in my team. So on a transcript, when they're talking about, I don't know, Christian, they know that that person is the technical project manager. When Sophia is talking, they know the context. Sophia is the iOS developer, and when it's talking Martin, is the Android developer. So you can give AI all the context and everything. It's not just giving you the transcript and summarizing. You can ponder all the responses because in I don't know, in a call when you and the stakeholder are talking, and it's a lot of people, but at the end the stakeholder decides something, the AI can see that is the heaviest word on the call, and that's what we are going to do. Even though if that person say, I don't know, we are going to going this way, actually at the end will take heavy on which one is each person on that call. And that is one of the great things of AI. You can give all the context of the project that you're currently working on and say, okay, you know what? And in energy project also, uh, every company has different ways to create user stories. So you can give them, okay, this is the template that the user story. We are going to do this and this and this. This is how to begin on when you create a user story. Okay, I need to create a user story for something. I will give them the context and everything. Sometimes you can even give them the transcription of a call if it's something technical, and you will receive with AI all the all the information, all the user story. But I will make this really clear for everybody. AI is a great tool, but you have to check it out. You have to check out everything that the AI is giving you back. A lot of mistakes has been happening with AI. We have a lot of cases. I always talk about Deloitte and other companies that had some issues with using AI and nobody fact check everything. Deloitte in Australia, they give a report with fake news and fake information because they give them a lot of creativity. Is a great tool, but you have to check it out. Everything that the outcome of AI. So copy and paste, yes, but then read it, maybe format it, whatever. But make sure that everything what is written is correct. What you understand is for me is a great writer. It's getting me write things easily and faster and everything. Sometimes I have a meeting regarding, I don't know, for some design and everything. And in 30 minutes later, I have a meeting to present user stories to the team. And on those 30 minutes, I can create 5 user stories because I have the transcript of the call and I can read everything. And those 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I can read the user stories. I can say the AI to write it, but I can read it and say, okay, we talk about this on the meeting. Yes, we talk about this. Yes, we talk. Oh, this one is not. Sometimes on the certain criteria, sometimes it's way too creative the AI. So to say, oh, you know what, this one is not is not great for us, or you can rewrite it some parts. But I think it's a great tool, but you have to check out all the output and make sure everything that you put it in is what exactly that you have on mind.
That's great. So setting the context so you can use AI in a better way. And you added that in your situation, you put your team into the context so AI knows your team, the business into the context and AI knows the overall structure. You set up your methodology in your context so AI knows what are templates that should be used, formats, vocabulary, everything. So it produces more adequate and more correct content for you. And
Yeah,
you
for example,
also set the level of
on this
creativity.
on these 14 years, I always use like a notebook personally at the beginning. Now, obviously, I use a Google Doc when I start on a new project that I create all the syllables. Okay, what is this letter? Because sometimes you have letters that is up to every project has different acronyms. So you say, okay, ACU is this department. So I right now with AI, I put everything on the context. So it's way easier, even for user story. Create an US. For me, US is user story. When I'm talking about AC, it's an certain criteria. I don't need to write everything. And obviously, when I'm talking about uh, also when you have a transcript on using AI, sometimes the acronyms they don't get it. So when you put in as a context, say, okay, when they talking about ACU, they are talking about this platform. When I'm talking about the UTC, they're talking about this other platform. So you can explain because obviously AI receive your input, but also receive your context. And having a context is way much better to not having a context, I think.
Yeah. That's great, and I like how you share with us how you're using AI. I believe a lot of people are also using, or if they're not, this is gonna be a good inspiration. And even for those who are using, they can compare and see different usage of AI. That's great. So I'm going to close this episode right now, but I would like that you could share if someone wants to know more about you, if they want to talk about you, if how they apply business analysis in South America, or wherever they are, how can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Mariano Urbinatti on LinkedIn, and I'm very passionate about AI. I think it's a great tool. It's nothing that we have to fear. We have to know how to work with it. And once you start having it, you realize you can be so much faster. You can. It's like I don't know. I think like the person that invented the bicycle and say, "Oh, but running was also faster." Yeah, but in a bicycle, it's way faster, and you can go there way faster, and it's not going to replace it at all. I think it's going to give us better understanding and sometimes give us I don't know, remove the uncertainty on sometimes on our work because sometimes, in my case, obviously, I'm not that technical on everything. And sometimes I'm on calls that are really technical, and I'm here. Okay, I will just take notes because I don't understand anything what they're talking about. Because sometimes, yes, BA, we are on the middle of very technical stuff, and we are not aware of. But using AI, just okay, explain me like a little baby. What exactly they were talking about? Explain me what this is important to them, and because I will not take time from sometimes a lot of coworkers because sometimes we are on fire on projects. So I think that if you want to talk about AI and how can easier your life, give me a call.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mariano. And I'm doing some other episodes on the sequence of this one. If you are looking for or also wondering how business analysts are playing business analysis around the globe, join me for the next sessions. Thank you very much, Mariano. See you around.
See you.